The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and its sequel Tears of the Kingdom have both had some incredible trailers. Breath of the Wild's trailer from the 2017 Switch presentation is regarded by many as one of the best game trailers ever made. And if you've seen Tears of the Kingdom's newest official trailer number 3, you might say that it's just as good, if not better than the Breath of the Wild one. One of the reasons it's so good is because of how hard it hits on an emotional level. First, there are the meta aspects of it, like how we waited over half a decade to see the next Zelda game, and how many doubts and questions about the game this trailer put to bed completely. But that's not all. Many scenes from this trailer reference and parallel the hugely important Breath of the Wild trailer that came before it. And this, combined with some careful, loving nods to Zelda games new and old, led to some emotional reactions from many who viewed it. Today, we're going to talk about a few of the strongest moments from the new trailer and explore how and why they affected us Zelda fans so deeply. Both trailers open very similarly, camera panning as we hear the faint sound of the wind. Very fitting for a game with the name Breath of the Wild. That game's trailer makes sure to introduce us to that massive world right away, whereas Tears of the Kingdom's trailer shows off the Sky Islands, making readily apparent how the new game has expanded. The purpose of these parallel shots is made even more clear when we get our first glimpse of the hero in each trailer. Breath of the Wild has Link staring off toward the expansive land ahead, since the giant world was that game's big new feature. Tears of the Kingdom takes it a step further, as Link enters gracefully skydiving onto the scene. An impressive, beautiful shot in its own right, made all the more impactful by the familiar Zelda theme kicking in as the logo is revealed. The early parallels continue with idyllic shots of Link running, climbing, and gliding, telling us that this is going to be more of the exploratory wonder Breath of the Wild had on offer. And it doesn't get much more nostalgic than when we're greeted by the Breath of the Wild theme as Link runs toward the incredible landscape in front of him, all looking familiar yet very different. Each shot is very careful to include something new within it, to further emphasize the wide array of changes made to this world map. Take this shot of Link climbing a cliffside for example. On one hand, it's very reminiscent to a memorable shot from the Breath of the Wild trailer, suggesting a triumphant return to Hyrule, which might be enough on its own to elicit an emotional response from some. Yet still, this mysterious green spiral and large stone ring in the distance remind us that despite how familiar we might be with the last game, there are still going to be many mysteries to uncover. Poignant shots like these, working in conjunction with familiar musical themes and strategic camera angles, really help create a sense of wonder and awe. Maybe it's hearing the Hyrule Castle theme while watching this world's centerpiece slowly rise from the surface, or the instantly recognizable notes of Zelda's lullaby they love to end their trailers with. I don't really need to explain how those pieces of music resonate emotionally. For those who've been longtime fans and maybe have grown up with the series, they just do. First and foremost, Zelda is an adventure, and it's not just the iconic score that helps emphasize that fact. It's also how the world is presented to us, which starts with the strategic camera placement in many of these shots. Whether it's close to the ground, behind Link, and angled up to show the scale of this underground labyrinth, or completely zoomed out like this shot of the sweeping Gerudo Desert, which makes Link look like a tiny speck on the ground below. Even here, as we see our hero emerge on the floating stone bird, the camera is then pushed back to show off the vastness of the sky and its islands. The trailer is littered with shots like these, and they're here for one reason: to again put us in awe of the size of the world we have to explore. Speaking of camera work, it also makes the reveal of Ganondorf in this trailer more impactful. This is the return of the villain's long dormant human form, but we start only seeing Ganondorf from behind, with glowing orange strands of hair flowing as he stands in front of the Blood Moon. He bears an uncanny similarity to the ultimate evil, Demise, first encountered in Skyward Sword. And by intentionally holding the face reveal, the viewer is left to wonder a bit. Will we be facing off against purely Demise, not reincarnated through Ganon? Later, we eventually meet Ganondorf face to face, in a voice segment that's one of the most powerful scenes of the trailer, made all the more powerful by the staggered way the directors chose to reveal him. Zelda is no stranger to using voiceover for dramatic effect in a trailer. We see it early on with Impa's monologue in the Breath of the Wild trailer, as she speaks about the Calamity Ganon, calling it a primal evil that the royal family of Hyrule has endured over the ages. Or King Rome's voice line, preparing us to find out what happened in Breath of the Wild's Great Calamity. Tears of the Kingdom's trailer brings us a similar type of moment, as it cuts to this mysterious figure who tells Princess Zelda how they're relying on Link and the legendary sword he carries, the Master Sword. Both trailers use this device, an ancient figure with a stately voice relaying the importance of the moment, building hype and setting the stakes, all while reminding us that this is yet another chapter in the generational epic that is the Zelda story, not something completely standalone. But perhaps no voice lines are quite as impactful as the ones from Princess Zelda herself, as both trailers also share a dramatic monologue from her, and this time it's focused on her role in the events of the story, mentioning that there's something important only she must do. Just as Tears of the Kingdom the game seems to have taken the foundation set by Breath of the Wild and expanded on it, the Tears of the Kingdom trailer seems to have used a similar strategy, since the parallels to the Breath of the Wild trailer continue on, not only evoking powerful memories from it, but also using some of the same techniques that made it so effective in the first place. For example, the Breath of the Wild trailer shows Calamity Ganon encircling Hyrule Castle in malice, and the power of the Blood Moon overtaking the creatures of the land. Tears of the Kingdom's trailer again directly references this scene, this time using it to confirm the return of a fan-favorite enemy, the Lynel, something done strategically to elicit an emotional response in those who might have partook in grueling battles against this particular species, and to suggest that we're in for similar kinds of epic encounters in the new game, making this dark and imposing scene one of the trailer's most triumphant. We notice these types of parallel scenes frequently as we continue watching. Another example is this shield bash scene. We see it in Breath of the Wild's trailer as Link parries a blow from this Yiga clan member's sword. And we see a similar type of scene in the new trailer, this time against one of the new Zonai constructs. Link reflects its bow using a shield that's fused onto a sword, a parallel scene that's yet again enhanced, this time to remind us of the new fuse ability and its seemingly endless possibilities. But it's not just the parallels that make this trailer hit so hard. It's the parallels in direct contrast with all the new things that really elevate it. During the course of the new trailer's runtime, we're thrust into numerous action sequences, which are a flurry rush of exciting new things to see and do. It's during these sequences that the wheels kinda come off, dispelling every question about how this game is going to be different from Breath of the Wild. From rocket ships to low-gravity platforming to falling laser traps, the trailer just slaps us in the face with new, wild possibilities, each time accompanied with an edge-of-your-seat musical build-up, only to end at deliberately punctuated beat drops, these emphasizing important reveals, like the face of the three-eyed figure from the engraving, the glimmering Hyrule Castle throne room, and the clasp of this gigantic new spider boss's jaws. Moments like these are where the goosebumps truly start, and perhaps no moment is better than the final action sequence, where the build-up reaches its apex, and funnily enough, we see one more parallel to the Breath of the Wild trailer. A quote from an important aid to our hero, right before the Legend of Zelda theme drops. Just as Daruk's "Here It Comes" quote sends us off toward the Breath of the Wild trailer's climax, this time an "Okay, let's go" from Teba's son Tulin provides us with a tangible peak moment of excitement. And speaking of important characters, it's right around here when we get another quote from Princess Zelda, reminding the hero he is not alone, as the champion descendants from the previous game take to the battlefield directly by his side. Sidon, Riju, and Tulin are here, so it looks like during this adventure, we won't be alone. And as longtime Zelda fans know, that's a good thing, since it's dangerous to go alone. Zelda's quote provides a full circle moment that references the iconic quote from the original Legend of Zelda game on the NES, a game many of us started on, what introduced us to the series, and what made us fall in love with it in the first place. And as the trailer closes, and we see Link square off against this three-headed dragon, we're reminded once again of the series' roots. It's the Gleeok from Zelda 1. Its first ever appearance in the 3D games. A wink and a warm hug for those who've been with this series from the very start, telling us, yes, this is Breath of the Wild sequel, but it's also another chapter in this story we've been enjoying for decades, no matter what console you started on. And as Zelda calls out to Link, and by extension, us, the player, saying, "You must find me," we can't help but feel a bit sentimental. We're gonna go find her soon, and that's why it hits so hard.